I know I should rest. I just don't have the time. If that sentence has ever come out of your mouth as an entrepreneur, as a woman of faith, as a mom, or even crossed your mind, this episode is going to be for you. Can I tell you something? You're not lazy. You're not undisciplined. You're not even bad at boundaries. You're a woman who is carrying a business, a family, a ministry, a whole household, girl. And the idea of adding rest to your to-do list may feel like a cruel joke from God sometimes. So let me say this up front. I'm not going to tell you to wake up any earlier. I'm going to tell you to not find another hour in your day that you don't actually have. And I'm definitely not going to try to tell you to take a vacation to Bora Bora. But what I am going to do in this episode is I'm going to teach you how to rest inside the life you're already living. Not more time, but different practices. Welcome to the Big Bold Faith Podcast. My name is Brittany Durfee, and this podcast is for faith-driven women entrepreneurs who are building businesses that are serving their lives and callings, and they are not consuming them. But before we jump in, here is my goal for today. By the end of this episode, I want you to be able to have 5 practical micro rest practices that you can start using today, and a completely different understanding of what it means to rest. And if this episode helps you, I want you to share it with another entrepreneur who's running on empty. You're tired, you're exhausted, you're asking God for help, you're asking God for resources, you're asking God for strategy, and you feel like you're not getting your answers, but it could be right in front of you. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss what's coming up next this year. There's so many wonderful guests and components to this podcast that I just want to be able to share with you. So let's get into today's episode. There's a myth that goes around as an entrepreneur about time, busyness, busy, blessed, and booked, right? Like there's some type of pride when people are like, hey, what are you doing? You're like, I'm just doing all the things. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. And we walk around with this badge of honor. But let's start by naming what's really going on when we take on this badge of honor of wanting to continuously be busy, continuously wanting to be booked and blessed. I don't know where we got that from, but when you say you don't have time to rest, the real thing that's really happening, you guys, is that you're saying one of these 3 things. That 1, rest is not a priority. Now, before you get all defensive on me, girl, I need you to hear me out. I'm not shaming you or condemning you because I used to be that person. I'm simply naming the data at hand. We make time for the things that we prioritize. That is a true statement. If you want it, you'll find it. If I told you that I would give you expense paid trip to XYZ, you would find a way. I don't know how it would work. I don't know who's going to watch those kids. I don't know who's going to do the groceries or that, but we're going. And if rest isn't happening, it's because something else is ranking higher in your life. And that's not a moral failure. That's just data, as I was telling you before. God is giving you a gift of time. And sometimes we try to take that same sense of time that we had in our single season or our married season or our season with kids before being married. And we try to just emulate it or copy it over without reassessing what our life really looks like. And what that does is it creates a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of unnecessary anxiety where we haven't taken just a survey of the land of where you actually are in this season. There's a number 2 type of myth that I don't actually know what rest looks like in my life. I hear so many women of God that say, what am I supposed to do when I rest? What does that look like? Do I just sit around, looking for Jesus, praying with Jesus? What does that look like? Or some people might picture a spa day, a beach vacation, 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Where y'all do that, right? And since none of these are available to you, right? When people are like, you should just rest more. And you're like, I don't have time to go to the beach. I don't have time for 8 hours of sleep. I barely get 4 hours of sleep. When you think about those things, what they become is like, they feel in a way unavailable to you, right? You're like, I can't go to the I can't go to the beach. I can't go to the spa day. I can't go here. So rest isn't available for me. And then in your mind, you start thinking that rest is a luxury. Rest is for people who have it. Rest who have people that have maids, that have a a significant other. Are you raising these kids by yourself? You're raising a business by yourself. You don't have a team and you like, Brittany, how am I going to do this? If I don't work, I don't eat. I don't have a team because I ain't got no money and it's all predicated on me. Here goes the third thing that many of us are grappling with. Rest feels unsafe. Ooh, I'm going to tell you again, rest feels unsafe for some of us as the believer. This is something that nobody talks about. And I'll say for myself that the reason that you don't rest isn't the logistics of things. It's that your actual nervous system in that stillness, in that quietness, in that not go, 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 it feels dangerous. It feels different. It feels totally not the same of what your body has learned to do as far as hustle. Your body has learned that if you stop moving, bad things could happen. So you keep going, you go to the next, you fill up the margins of your calendar, you jump from one meeting to the next meeting to the next meeting because that stillness, it just feels uncomfortable. Not because you want to, but because stopping feels like an actual threat to your body, right? It has this fight or flight mentality that it's doing, and you're not even conscious of that. But here's the truth that I want you to sit with. Rest isn't about finding more time. Rest is about changing what you do with the time that you already have. You have the same 24 hours as everyone else, right? So the question is not where do I find more time? It's what am I doing with the minutes that are draining me? And what can I do instead that restores me? Rest isn't a time problem. It's a practice problem. What are you practicing? What are you instilling? What habits are you allowing in your life that over time, they just became akin to your DNA? And now you're exhausted. Now you're tired because you're used to doing the same things from your early 20s or your early, preteen years that you're like, this has just been my life. But you never took a moment to check in to see if you were actually resting or you were just functioning. Can we say that? We were never resting. We were just functioning through life. We never took an actual survey of our body to say, this is no longer serving me in this season. But this is good news because I'm glad that we can't create more hours. But what we can do is we can change our practices. So let's redefine today what rest actually is, because I think we've been sold a version of rest that was never going to work for your actual life of what you're living, right? In the previous episode with Hannah, she talks about these micro seed like moments of compounding in your life to practically do it now. And if you have not gone back and listened to that episode, please do. It is so rich in content of being more spiritually mature and finding disciplines to be closer to God. But I want to talk about the portions of us that need more attention. So here goes what's, I hear obviously a lot in my community is people not knowing what rest is. They're feeling lazy. And I get it. Like I've been programmed for productivity. If I'm not doing, if I'm not producing, if I'm not there for someone, if I'm not providing counsel, if I'm not serving, if I'm not somewhere doing something, then I must not be productive. I might not be doing what the Lord wants me to do. I'm not getting what I need to get done. And like most entrepreneurs, the idea of doing nothing feels physically uncomfortable. You feel guilty. You reach for the phone just to feel useful again. So here, let me give you what my definition of rest is. Rest is any activity that restores your capacity spiritually, emotionally, mentally, or physically without requiring you to produce an outcome. There should be peace in that, right? That doesn't mean that rest is not passive and it's not doing anything, right? It's doing something specific, but something restorative without needing it to lead somewhere, without it having to monetize, without it having to be on your Instagram feed, without you having it. It could simply just be. Now, let me tell you what rest is not, because I think some of us are confusing our numbing for resting. Rest is not scrolling on your phone for 45 minutes and calling it a break, y'all. The doom scrolling, 2026, Lord, break us from this. Binge watching Netflix while still answering emails. Let's let go of that. Sleeping because you're so physically exhausted that you cannot literally function. You know that feeling? You can't literally move out of your body. Some of us, we get to this point and we're sick because our body is giving us signals. You probably numb yourself by avoiding hard conversations, by trying to stay busy. or you're numbing with food, wine, shopping, coffee, tea, whatever that is. Those things might feel like rest in the moment, but they don't restore your capacity. They drain it further. They're escape. They're not rest. Here's what rest would be for me. It could be, if you're a single mother, 5 minutes of silence before your kids wake up. It's not a perfect prayer, but it's just to be able to breathe and to be with God. A walk around your block without phone. You could be sitting on your porch with a cup of coffee, letting your thoughts just wander, you just meditating on God's words, looking at the clouds. You can even so much as, this is rest, you guys, saying no to commitments that would cost you more than what it gives. I am so content in this season to say no to certain things. It's not because I don't like you. It's not because I don't love you. It's not because there are certain things that are not worth my peace in this season. And that's okay. I'm not going to always say no. There's just going to be certain seasons and I'm going to be like, I'm busier in this season and I would love to attend that, but I just don't have the capacity for it. I need to make sure I restore my capacity. It could look like closing your laptop at 5 o'clock and not opening it again until the morning. Hint, hint. Some of y'all close it at 5, go back and go grab it at 7 o'clock, then still be scrolling. Can we normalize this year taking a real lunch break away from your desk without multitasking? I am so guilty of this. I will leave this computer and be like, I'm gonna go grab lunch. I will make a whole meal and then come back and sit at my office and be just hurtled over, just eating. Or maybe it's something as simple as a conversation with a friend when you're not performing or problem solving. Here's the distinction. Numbing disconnects you from yourself and rest connects you to yourself and to God. Numbing says, I can handle this, so I'm going to check out. And rest says, I'm choosing to pause so I can re-engage with more capacity. That's a big difference, y'all. So if rest is about restoring capacity, not finding hours, then the real question becomes, what is a small, doable practices that you can build today in your life that you're already living? And that's what we're going to cover up next. There are practical things. There are 5 micro rest practices that I'm going to give you that every woman who has 5 to 15 minutes, not 5 to 15 hours, and you don't need a vacation. You just need a rhythm. You just need a habit. You can just start small. Here's what I want you to notice, that each one of these practices connects you, your rest, to your business. Because for the entrepreneur, rest can't be separate from your work. Same thing with your relationship with God. Your relationship with God cannot be separate from your work. You need all of Him to operate in everything that He's called you to do. And it has to be woven into it. It has to be akin into the DNA of whatever your hand delights in for His glory and for His honor. So practice number 1 is super simple. It's a 2-minute reset between tasks. I'm guilty of this. So here's what most entrepreneurs do, right? You guys finish one task and you immediately jump to the next. You email to a client, you call, someone for a proposal, then you do a Slack message. There's no pause. There's no breath. There's just constant output. Go, 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 go. And some of y'all are really like there's an opportunity in Google Calendars. I'm making this super practical where you can schedule that your meetings only be 45 minutes so that you have 15 minutes between the next meeting. So you can't schedule. But some of us are just stubborn because we'll just put it for 45 and then you will stay on talking to your coworkers for the next 15 minutes and you still run over. Here's a micro reset that I want you to do between every major task. I want you to take 2 minutes to reset. That looks like standing up, taking a breath, stretching, looking out a window, getting away from the screen, maybe saying a 1-sentence prayer like, Lord, I'm here. Help me be present for whatever is next. And for us that like to just run over for meetings, can I suggest that you end the meeting on time? You get there on time. You talk about your business. You get out on time. You have stuff to do. Your rest is your capacity. And your rest is your presence. Your rest is not a luxury. Here goes another business application that will help you with this idea of this 2-minute reset. You'll make better decisions and you'll respond more thoughtfully to clients and you'll avoid burnout with this. Rest isn't costing you productivity. It's actually increasing it. There's been so many times that I've gone into the next meeting and you're like thinking about the last project, the last meeting, and someone's like, okay, well, what do you think? You're like, I don't have a thought. I'm still thinking about the last meeting. You're not clear. You're not clear-minded to make those decisions. Here's practice number 2, the shutdown ritual. If you don't have a clear end to your workday and you don't know what actual time you've decided that you're going to get off by, your brain's never going to stop working. So for me, I'll start the beginning of my day to say, okay, we're going to get off at 4:00 today. I have stuff to do. I need to clean the house. I need to actually make groceries. I need to go buy food, and we're off at 4:00. But if you don't do this, you allow for the creation for you to continue to go from 4:00, 5:00, 6:00, and you're like, I'll just finish whenever my to-do list is going to be done. Girl, you know that to-do list is not going to be done. And you're going to go from task to task to task to task, and you'll look up and it'll be 9:00, 10:00, 11:00, and you'll be tired and exhausted. And then you drag yourself to bed. You haven't eaten. You haven't showered. Then you wake up late and you don't have time with the Lord. And then you shame and you condemn yourself because you didn't get your spiritual discipline in. And then you show up to work feeling that condemnation and that shame, trying to make decisions, trying to hear from God. And it's just this continuous cycle that shows up. I want you to create a 5-minute shutdown ritual that signals to your brain work is done. And that could look like, having your sticky notes and writing down 3 major things that you want to do the next day, closing all your browser tabs. There's even on your phone, and I'm sure on your computers, where you can do kind of like a wind down where everything starts turning off that isn't a priority, that it'll say, you've reached your time limit for today. It is 5:00. You no longer have access to Slack, whatever platforms that you use. It's very simple if we allow it. The business application here is you get a chance to be more present with your family. You sleep better. You can actually have energy for the next workday instead of starting depleted. Many of us can't get through the rest of the week because you depleted from last week. You are a hustler, my dear. You are a hustle and you hustle well. But in this season, I'm imploring you to do something different with your time. Here's practice number 3, the sacred no. I know we heard this all of 2024 and 2025, and this one isn't just about adding rest. It's about protecting the rest you already have. Here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. The question isn't whether you're making the trade consciously, right? But you're giving away a part of it. Like that's just the math at the end of the day. If you say yes to this, you can't show up to that. If you say yes to that 5:00 call, you're probably not going to be having time to make dinner or get a chance to get to Bible study on time, whatever that looks like. So here goes the micro rest practice I want you to think about. Before you say yes to any new commitment, ask yourself, what will this actually cost me? Look, draw out a diagram, draw out a pros and cons. Okay, this person wants me to hang out with them at 6:00. What is that going to cost you? To give you time to rest, to wind down, to read, to color, to spend time with your kids, to go on a walk, to go to the gym, to lose the weight that you've been talking about, to learn the craft, that lesson, that language you've been trying to learn for 5 years. But your yes is costing you something. Not just money, energy, time, mental bandwidth, community. There are relationships, my God, there are relationships that you're asking for, but you don't have time for them. You don't have time for the man of God that God has promised you. You do not have time for your solid 3 group. You don't have time. Why would the Lord, oh God, give you something you have no time for that you're not making space? There are dreams and ideas, books and visions and TV shows that the Lord has asked you to do, but you don't have the time because you're worried about so many other people. We have to be able to be okay saying no, trusting in the vision of what the Lord has given us. And that's not a bad thing. If the cost is higher than the return, and especially if it will steal your rest from your family, your health, the answer should be no. I'm going to say that again. From your rest, your family, and your health. Many of us are sick. Many of us are tired. Many of us are exhausted. Many of us want to heal in this season. But we keep saying yes to everyone else but ourselves, even if it is a good opportunity, even if you have to disappoint someone. A no that protects your capacity is a yes to your longevity, to everything God has put in your hands. Here goes the business application. You'll stop overcommitting. You'll stop under-delivering, and you'll stop resenting your own calendar. Your yeses will mean more because they're intentional. You won't give everybody like your pearls, essentially, right? Be stingy with those. It's your time. Can I tell you this, woman of God? You are worthy of rest. You are worthy of saying no. You are worthy of holding on to your health, your family, the things that make you happy, the things that restore you, the things that give you capacity, the things of sitting with the Lord. Here goes number 4. There's a margin audit. I love this because I learned this a couple years ago and I didn't know what the person was telling me. They were like, make more margin. I was like, that's a little thing when you have like your notebook paper, there's like the margin on the side that you write the notes. But most entrepreneurs operate at 100% capacity all the time. And can I say not even just entrepreneurs, but like women of God in this season, in this century, we feel like we have to be go, go, go. And every hour, every minute, every second is scheduled. Can I tell you that we are not we're not omniscient. We are not God. So even if we wanted to create and do all things, we wouldn't be able to. Your every day is full. And then you wonder why you have no room for rest or for unexpected opportunities. There are so many things that we miss because we're from here, here, here. When you make for those margins and you have those unexpected opportunities, you become like, and I love this, right? I like to think of it like this. If you're just kind of walking, right? Like if you're perusing around town and you're not going from here to that store running errands, but you just make room for the margin. I love these moments because this is where God shows up. People will ask me for prayer. I'll get into a conversation about something with someone else. I'll make a new connection with people, but it's only in this margin of space that I'm able to receive these opportunities. And I believe the same thing goes for your business. Your business needs these margin of opportunities that aren't planned, but that you're expecting. But you need the room and the space for them to be received in your life in this season. So here goes the micro practice. Once a week, I want you to audit your calendar for margin. Look at the upcoming week and ask, where's the white space in my calendar? If an emergency happened, what would I cancel, right? You're looking at your schedule and someone's like, hey, I have an emergency. I need you to come. What would you be able to cancel? Are you able to cancel? What would happen if you did cancel? If an opportunity came up, could you say yes? If that thing you've been praying for, that thing you've been seeking, if someone called you today and say, hey, Brittany, hey, woman of God, on Tuesday at 3:00, I actually have a room and space for you to be at this event and it's going to meet I actually have an opportunity to meet with that business partner or counsel or that, financial investment. Do you have the ability to say yes? And if the answer is, I have no margin anywhere, then maybe you have a systems problem, not a time problem. You've built a business that requires 100% of you 100% of the time. And let me tell you, I've been that person. I'm still that person some days where if I'm not doing it, then it's not getting done. And it's hard because you built a business predicated on you and not intentionally, but because you couldn't trust anyone, because you didn't know better, because no one gave you the manual, but it's not sustainable. And can I tell you this? It's not stewardship. The business application here is margin is where creativity lives. I'll say that again. Margin is where creativity lives. This is the spot where you get a chance to get that big, bold faith of an idea that you were just sitting around and you were just like, I think I heard from God today. God told me to do this in this direction. Like I said earlier, many of us are looking to hear from God, but we do not make margin for him. It is here in these spaces where God interrupts our plans with something better. You're planning something, right? Even this morning, I was preparing for a conversation and I just allowed margin in my day. Now I've been preparing and praying up to this moment and the Lord just started to give me download of questions to ask and certain things that would be beneficial. And it was, if I didn't make margin for that, and this is what I had to give up. People were calling me this morning and I was like, no, I didn't get on the internet this morning. I didn't doom scroll this morning. I didn't answer emails this morning. I sat with my matcha and my book And I just was like writing down the things as they were coming. And I said, Lord, thank you so much for giving me questions for today, giving me like a heart to be prepared. Now, mind you, I've been praying for this for 2 weeks, y'all, but it was in the moment before that I was not doing anything but that space where I was like, okay, let me just prepare myself. Let me prepare my voice. Let me prepare my focus and my attitude. But if you have no margin, you have no room for opportunities for what you're praying for. Here goes the fifth one, and this is my favorite, the Sabbath anchor. I know Sabbath can feel very impossible when you're running the business, when you're raising kids and you're managing everything alone. And can I tell you something? I see you. I see you trying to run everything. I see you trying to be pleasing to the Lord. I see you trying to do things in excellence. I see you trying to navigate everything without a guide. I see you. But here goes something I want to share with you that I've learned, that your Sabbath doesn't have to be a full 24 hours to be meaningful. It can be an anchor. It can be a non-negotiable window that you protect every single week. Maybe it's 20 minutes this week. Maybe it's 30 minutes next week. Maybe it's an hour. I think the intentionality of what the Lord is calling us in this season is just for consistency. It's not about, look, Lord, like, look at all of the things that we've done, right? It's simply like, Lord, I've been faithful of being consistent because you're faithful and consistent and never changing. I showed up every single day and I read one Bible verse. And over time, that compounds to something beautiful. It builds fruit. It makes us vital and green. Here goes the micro rest practice. I want you to choose 1 2 to 4 window each week that is sacred. And maybe it's not 2 to 4 hours. Okay. Maybe I scared some of y'all. Okay. Let's roll it back. Maybe it's 1 to 2 hours, right? Find a window each week that is sacred. Find a room, find a chair, find a table, make your favorite peppermint tea, your favorite coffee, whatever your drink of choice. And no work, no productivity, no earning, no producing, no monetizing, no posting on the gram, no posting on Instagram or TikTok, all of those platforms. No, nothing. Maybe it's Sunday morning before church. Maybe it's Saturday afternoon while the kids are napping. Maybe it's Friday night after the laptop closes. This is your anchor. This is what your practice is not producing. This is where you will remember that your value is not tied to your output. The business application in this, a weekly Sabbath is going to train your brain that your business will survive without you for a few hours. That's powerful because you get a chance to start trusting God in your business, knowing that the Lord, our God, who is almighty, who is the one who gave you the vision, is it going to give you more than you can bear? And it's predicated on him. So every decision, everything he moves you forward, we have to rely on him. We have to trust in him with all of our heart and not lean into our own understanding. And it also breaks the lie that says, if I stop, everything falls apart. That's not true. That's what the enemy wants us to do. Go, 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 go. Girl, you stop. That's not going to happen. Those kids aren't going to make it. This is not going to happen. It has to be you. And it models for your clients and your family that rest is a priority for you. Now, can I tell you, it's not going to be easy at first. It's going to be really hard and difficult to shift from this, and there's going to be resistance. People will be like, what? You're taking an hour for yourself. You got stuff to do. You can't do that. I need you now. This is an emergency. But you're an emergency. You're important. I always think about if something, medically, critically happened to you, you wouldn't have a choice but to sit down. You would not have a choice but to sit down. And for some of us, we have learned that when we've gotten sick for a season. If anybody else, let me know if it's been you. The Lord has sat you down in a season because you decided to be hard-headed and kept going. And you over here now in the bed, 3 or 4 days, 5 days, sick with a cold, with, any type of infirmity. And you're just like, oh, okay, I learned, God. And here you are again. Those are your 5 practices. The 2-minute reset. Don't schedule yourself back to back, y'all. The shutdown ritual. Decide today, I'm getting off at 5 o'clock. If you need an accountability partner, call one of your friends. Girl, call me at 5:02. Make sure I am out of the office. Make sure I'm not where I need to be. The sacred no. It feels like pushback. I want us to normalize the no. I mean, we don't get always what we want. And I think that no is good for girding up us to do certain things. I mean, I just believe in this season, we're going to have to say a lot of no's because us saying yes to so many things make us scattered as business entrepreneurs. We don't have a focus. So we're saying yes to everything and never to the right thing. And so you become like a subject matter expert at nothing, right? It's like you're doing all of these things, but you don't have a focus because you're saying yes to everything else. Now, we're talking about your family, y'all, your first ministry that the Lord has given you. I'm not saying say no to those kids all the time, but find some boundaries where you're like, mommy or daddy's in prayer right now. Here goes this. And maybe it's 15 minutes, right? But you're teaching your kids this same mindset. And when it doesn't work, you guys, can we be okay when you don't get the 15 minutes or the shutdown or the no, when you say no and someone is going to take you practicing it as a muscle? The margin audit, looking through your schedule, take some of those meetings off of your, stop booking back to back to back. You got 4 meetings in a row? Man, it must be hard for you to make decisions. It must be tiring and exhausting. And you didn't eat today? And you didn't go to the gym today? And you you were up till 1 o'clock last night? And sometimes there's a season, but sometimes we just be operating from season to season to season. It be winter, spring, summer, fall, all of the things. And you just keep going. It's not just the winter season. It's every season. And then the Sabbath anchor. This anchor will anchor you when times are hard and difficult. You don't have to do all of these 5. I want you to pick one. I want you to start there and let it become automatic. And then add another one, then another one, and then another one. Now I want to take this one level deeper because these practices are personal. But if you want rest to be sustainable, you're going to have to build business systems, not just your personal habits. And building rest into your business or building systems into your business is going to take you so much further in the ideal that God is giving you. I want to be able to just tell you about this, and we're going to actually make this into a 2-part series, right? I'm going to share with you the business systems that are going to set you free and give your business rest so that you don't have to always be operating in it, because you know what that is? That's just a 9 to 5. It's not a business. If the business isn't operating without you, if it's not making money and decisions and operating without you holding its hand, you're essentially in a 9 to 5. And that's not bad, you guys. It's information. A lot of us don't know this. A lot of us was given an ideal from God and we just like, okay, God, we out here. But no one showed us or coached us along the way. And I want to share with you in our next episode why that is so important. So before we head out, I want you to make sure you like, subscribe, you follow for this next episode that's going to be fire. It's going to set you free in the system. Let me pray us out real quick so that we can understand this going forward. Dear Heavenly Father, God, I thank you for the ability to rest in every season and every circumstance. I thank you, Lord, that you give us the ability to have margins in our schedule, that we have the ability to say no, that we have a Sabbath as an anchor, God, that we're able to rest and breathe, God, knowing that we don't have to be busy beings, God, for things to happen, God. I thank you, Lord, that you would just fuel our bodies and our mindsets, that you would unbreak the lies of our past and our triggers and our experiences of producing always, God, that we can take solace in the fact that you're working on our behalf, that it doesn't require always our hands tending to everything, God, but trusting in you more in every season and every decision, God. I pray that you give us clarity on the things that have been clouding our judgment, clouding our ability to move forward, and the businesses that you've given us, the visions, the expansion, because we've been so busy, God, and we have not rested, God. God, I pray for the woman of God here that feels struggling, that she feels like she has too much to do with what you've given her, God. That you would open up her eyes, that you would take off things off her plate that are no longer serving her in this season, God, and that you would just give her a confidence that she's able to do everything through Christ Jesus. So we thank you. We magnify you in the mighty, majestic name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
This episode is brought to you in partnership with Sozo Digital Media.